There was a beef summit held in London 10 days ago by the Minister George Eustace. He pulled together us, the NFU, the meat processors, and all the major retailers were there. And we had a fair discussion, I have to say. There was some fairly blunt talking. And some of the actions out of that beef summit to try and regain some of the confidence back in that industry revolved around us, the NFU, having discussions with the British meat processors to see if we can get a code of conduct into that sector. Because again, if you look back over the last number of years, we've seen killing specifications change basically overnight. Possibly that's an overstatement, but we as farmers have received letters saying that the deductions for cattle outside the grid and all has changed, higher penalties without any consultation with the industry. Now that cannot be right in 2014, particularly when you had farmers who were encouraged to keep some of these black and white calves 2 years ago, and now all of a sudden they've been penalised by selling these cattle. Also, I believe quite strongly when farmers receive their kill sheets from the abattoir sector, you see so many deductions on the bottom of those kill sheets. It's not transparent what those charges are for. Surely here we are in the 21st century where if there are any additional costs, then they ought to be reflected in the bid price rather than an inflation linked deduction coming off the bottom of your kill sheet. We also emphasised, as did the Minister, on the major retailers, because we've seen their margins increase over the last number of months, and this was the time to get behind British beef, and they ought to be promoting British beef better. You needed to think back to the Horsegate issues of last year, where there were lots of promises made, where major retailers are looking at shorter supply chains, greater transparency, and that you can walk through certain retailers, and I think it's more behaviour within local stores than policy, where you see co-mixing of imported product with British product, sometimes under Union Jack. So I would suggest that they ought to have better behaviour within stores where they separate out imported from British. Because again, the National Farmers Union did a national survey only last autumn where 79% of the consumers are looking to buy more British produce. They believe in Britishness. They believe that we, the British farmers, deliver on quality farm assurance red tractor. So again, those are the messages from the consumer, and yet when you go in and you see this co-mixing taking place on shelves, it doesn't quite send the right message, and it can be extremely confusing for our consumers.